The modern attitude is that a child's a child, a non-entity, just a big responsibility, a big job, babysitting job. If you're going to raise Chassidish children, you have to change that attitude. A child is a mensch, a child is a human being, a child is a Jew, a child has a neshama. This is serious business. I know in some circles, Fruma communities, before Bar Mitzvah, they don't take their children's Yiddishkeit very seriously. Remember in a bungalow colony, on a Shabbos afternoon, this guy, who wears a shtreimel, I think, on Shabbos, he asked his son to go into the car and bring him something from the car. And I was a little surprised. He says, no, he's not Bar Mitzvah. That was really shocking. He must have been 10 years old. You ask a 10-year-old to be Machal Shabbos? Because he's not Bar Mitzvah? We got to take children a little more seriously than that. To contrast that, there was a shliach, a very popular shliach. His kid got hold of some cholavakum, something, when he was a kid. And he had a candy or something, a mouthful of cholavakum. He called the Rebbe. What should he do? Is a child a job, or is a child a relationship, a person? Obviously, in the relationship, you communicate differently when he's 2 or 1 than when he's 5 and 6. So the communication differs, the expectations differ, but in all cases you're dealing with a human being and a Jew. Children are reactive. They absorb everything. Everything makes an impression. Everything leaves an imprint. And you want to be careful what imprints and what impressions the child grows up with, to make sure that there are no negative imprints and to make sure that there are some positive ones. So that's the first thing, just an orientation of how to think. The more, I don't know what the word is, the more seriously, the more responsibly you look at a child, the sooner the child will respond to that kind of expectation. So, Chinuch, which is of course a mitzvah, Chinuch doesn't just mean rehearsing, practicing to get ready for the real thing. Chinuch is a real thing. When a child does a mitzvah, it's not just practice for later. A child's mitzvah is a child's mitzvah. And the impact and the effect of a mitzvah is somewhat different, but not that great. What is the difference between a mitzvah you do voluntarily and a mitzvah you do because you're obligated? Okay, if you're obligated, there's more, more schar, there's more of a struggle, because the Yetzer Hara will try to stop you. So yes, a mitzvah that you're obligated to do is greater than a mitzvah that you do voluntarily. On the other hand, if you do a mitzvah voluntarily, there's something more appealing or more beautiful to that than if you're doing it because you have to. So a child's mitzvah is not an obligatory one. That doesn't makes it different, but not less meaningful, just differently meaningful. So we don't look at chinuch as a trial run, as practice, rehearsal, Chinuch is the life of the child, the Torah life of a child. And that's real. On the child's level, his mitzvah is as serious as a mitzvah on an adult level to an adult. If you take the chinuch mitzvahs carelessly, lightly, you're setting a tone. So you can't tell a kid who's 10 or 11 years old to go into the car on Shabbos and get you something, and then when he turns 13, he magically becomes Shomer Shabbos. All of a sudden, the thought of touching a car is out of the question. How's that going to happen? So, the first thing is, a child is a serious human being. Only you have to do it, he's thinking for him. If you come with that approach, you're on solid ground. How would you treat an adult, even an older person, who can't hear? So you can't talk to him, because he can't hear. So he doesn't count anymore? What he does doesn't matter anymore? You can do whatever you say, you can do whatever you want to him, you can have him do whatever he wants. Why? Because you can't talk to him? So to a child, you can't talk to him. I mean, you can try, but... So you can't connect to a child through language. Talking about a very young child. So that means that his experiences are not important, his feelings are not important, the impressions that he gets about life and about you and about home are not important. Maybe they're even more important. So you have to do their thinking for them, but the thinking has to be serious life experiences. Because a child's life is life. It's not an experiment. People who wash Negelwasser with their babies, or wash their babies' hands. I don't know how that sounded. That's being responsible. That's taking a child seriously, which we should. On the other hand, he's a child. You have to be realistic concerning your expectations, concerning your pacing yourself as to what to teach, what to say, what to expect. So of course it has to be realistic, but it also has to be responsible. Just like if you're introducing an adult to Yiddishkeit, you got to know first things first. You can't overdo it. You can't, but it's no less important than your mitzvah. So in some way, the mitzvahs that you teach a child as part of their chinuch could be even more important than you're doing the mitzvah yourself.